What's up, family? Big Gene here again. Just want to give you a quick bit of information regarding the covenant standard. Welcome to the covenant standard. That's what this is. The covenant standard. This is the place for men, a safe space for all my guys out there. All right, I want to help you grow into true husbands and true leaders in your household and true leaders in your relationships and in your marriages. I want this to be a community for us to engage in, for us to have conversation and dialogue and have an understanding, a clearer understanding of what it takes to be successful in a marriage as a husband, as a leader. All right. And, I'm going to say some stuff sometimes that you might be like, whoa, where's he coming from? But I'm always going to give you an explanation. I'm always going to make it clear when I'm talking about where I'm coming from. All right. So welcome again. And I hope you guys really take in what I present to you by way of these videos and future lives and future posts. And I want you to engage. I want you to like. I want you to share. I want you to subscribe in certain instances. I need to know that you're there, you're listening, you're watching. Even if you disagree, as long as you disagree with respect, we're good. But I want you to give me some thumbs and some hearts, some likes, some shares, some engagement, some dialogue. Let me respond to you when you respond. When you say certain things, you comment, let me be able to respond to you. All right? So without further ado, what I want to talk about, the covenant standard, what I want to talk about right now today is the difference between a covenant mindset and a contract mindset. Because I did an introductory video a few days ago, and I don't know if I've really fully explained what the covenant standard is about. I mean, I gave you an overview, but what I'm going to be talking about from time to time is I'm going to be talking about what the standard is. The covenant is the standard for a sustainable marriage. But I want you to understand what the difference is between covenant and a contract. Because here's the thing. Right now, I'm going to tell you right now, most men are running their relationships like a contract, and then they wonder why it's getting canceled. We're in a cancel culture. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. Most men are running relationships like a contract, and they wonder why they're getting canceled. And you know what? You probably don't even know that you're running your relationship that way because you don't understand what that is. So let's talk about what a covenant relationship is versus a contractual relationship. The best example I can give is in terms of a covenant relationship is the one with God the Father. And I'm going to make this distinction because I like to always be clear in what I'm saying and how I'm saying it. When I refer to God the Father, I'm talking about the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I'm talking about the Most High God. That's who I follow, and that's who I follow through Christ. Now, I have to make this distinction because a lot of people, they will say God, but they ain't serving the same God. There's people that are serving many gods. There's people that are serving a God under a different name, under a totally different entity. So I want to be clear. I serve the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whose name is also Israel. That's who I serve. That's who I follow through Christ. Okay, so now that I got that out of the way, the relationship between God, the Father, and us as his children, that's covenant because it's unconditional. It's not based on performance. Because if it was if it was based on performance, he would have left us a long time ago. Because the Bible tells us that we all fall short of the glory. So if his love for us was based on how we perform, he'd be disappointed in us and he'd have left us a long time ago. And be like, no, I can't deal with you because you just ain't getting it right. No, he's committed because of who he is. His commitment and his love for us is unconditional. It's not based on what we do. It's not based on our performances. It's based on the posture of our hearts. So he loves us so much. He changes not. He wants to be with us. He wants to embrace us. He wants to bless us. So he is committed to loving us through our faults, our flaws, our imperfections, our slip-ups, whatever. Because he has committed himself, he's dedicated himself to loving us through it all. Okay, that is a covenant relationship. That's the example that we're supposed to follow as husbands, as leaders in our households. We are supposed to love unconditionally. Now, in a contract is conditional. It's based on certain conditions and terms, and it has term limits. Covenant is lifelong. Contract is limited. It's only going to be only going to be as long as the performance is. Let's think about. I like to use sports as an illustration. Faith is the foundation of the covenant standard, but sports is the illustration. So let's look at the Knicks. Now, I'm a New Yorker. I no longer live in New York, but I'm a New Yorker, so I'm a huge Knicks fan. Go Knicks. I'm a huge Giants fan. Go Big Blue. The Knicks just won the first round of the NBA playoffs against the Hawks, and they had to make some adjustments. Now, they have a system that they're committed to. You know, Mike Brown, the coach, he has a system for them to work under. And they lost a couple of games, but they had to make some adjustments. And Coach Brown has said that, you know, in their wins, and they ended up winning the first round series. In their wins, they made adjustments to their system, within their system. They tweaked it. And he even said that, and I think it was in a press conference. He said, because of the way Atlanta was playing, they had to make adjustments. They had to tweak their offense, you know, just to change a little bit, still work within the system, but just make some adjustments here and there. And then they won convincingly. All the games that they won convincingly, and it culminated in that huge blowout in Game 6 that sealed the series, that secured the win of the series for them. And they even implemented that same tactic in the first game in the second round against the Philadelphia 76ers. Let's go Knicks. So the point that I'm making is they were committed to the system. They didn't divorce themselves from the system. They committed to it, and they executed, and they just made adjustments. Life is going to do what it does. In a marriage, you're going to experience certain things. But if you have a commitment to making adjustments, it's going to work out. You're not going to leave because the conditions change. So we have to understand we can't run our relationships like a contract, because if we do, we're already looking to leave. We've already given ourselves an exit clause and we don't even realize it. So let's just say, for instance, like, you know, your wife gets sick or your girlfriend gets sick or whatever, your fiance gets sick, and they can't do the things that they were doing at one point. Well, let's just stick with marriage. They can't do the things that they were doing before. So now, what are you going to do? You're going to leave because now she's sick and she can't perform at a certain level? That's because you had a contract mindset. You didn't have a covenant mindset. A covenant would say, you know what, I'm committed. I'm going to help you. I'm going to support you. I'm going to do what I can. I'm going to pick up the slack. You know, if you can't cook, okay, I'll cook, or we'll order out. Or, you know, you're not able to do certain things. Okay, I'll do that. Okay, you can't work right now. Okay, you know, we'll make adjustments. We'll figure it out. I'll do some more overtime and whatnot to try to make up the difference. Whatever it is, but you find a way because you're committed. Not because you're committed to her performance, but you're committed to being who you think you are, or who you know you are. Because, see, having an understanding of covenant versus contract, that reveals who you are. A contract is based on the performance of someone else. Covenant is based on your commitment. You know, you're not committed to the performance of the spouse. You're committed to performing, or not even performing, but you're just committed to doing the things that are necessary for the relationship to continue to thrive. That's what this is about. And, you know, I just want people to have an understanding, because, you know, a contract, it's about terms. And a covenant is who you are when the terms get tested. I just gave an example of terms being tested. And, you know, just like if she leaves because something happened to you, because you lost your job, and she leaves, well, she had a contract mindset, because now finances are being compromised, resources are being compromised, because you may not get a job, you know, another job right away. You know, so now it's like, oh, okay, this is what's happening. If she says, I'm out, I can't do this no more, you know, I'm accustomed to a certain way of living, she had a contract mindset. But a covenant mindset, she'd be like, look, this happened. We're going to work it out. We're going to get together. We're going to figure something out. We might have to start a business. Or I might have to get a job myself. Whatever it is, the commitment will be there to continue to grow, to continue to make progress, not to throw in the towel, not to give up, not to quit. Okay, because if you quit, you had a contract mindset. You did not have a covenant mindset. So let's just make that distinction clear. So, fellas, stop loving like a contract and start building like a covenant. Because a covenant leaves a legacy. A contract does not. All it does is preserve feelings. I'm going to let that sit for a little bit. I'm going to let that sit. Because see, in a contract, it's like, yeah, I'm all in if my expectations are met. Covenant doesn't say that. Covenant says, I'm all in even when it's uncomfortable. Because life happens. And there will be some uncomfortable times. But how do you respond to that? Do you make adjustments? Do you tweak your offense? Do you stay committed to the system so that you can thrive, so that you not just survive, but thrive, so that you succeed? That's covenant. Not giving up, sticking around, hanging in there, even when times are challenging. So if you're loving, if you treat love like a contract, you always going to look for an exit. Always. Once again, because it's conditional. Soon as something changes, soon as the performance of your spouse changes, now you're like, man, I'm out. Whether you divorce officially or you just start cheating, I mean, this is what happens. This happens, on both sides. If something changes in that term, and those terms change, now you're looking for an escape. That's not covenant. So I want you to understand that the covenant is the standard for sustainable marriage. Like I said, I'm going to use faith as the foundation. I'm going to use sports as an illustration. Think about this also on a team, on a professional team, any sport. You got your superstars, you got your stars, you got your role players, you got your practice players. But every one of those individuals has a contract, and the contract is based on their performance or past performance. If they no longer perform at the level of their contract, they're out. When that contract is up, it's not going to get renewed. They're going to get cut. They're going to get traded. Something's going to change because they didn't live up to the contract. You were able to get this contract based on your past performance. But as soon as that performance diminishes, you're done. That's contract. And that's what we do in relationships. Soon as something changes, soon as your performance level is not at the same level that it was previously, then people are looking like, that's it. I need to get me a new one. I need to get me someone younger. I need to get me someone who can satisfy certain needs or whatever, certain desires. That's a contract. So don't even enter into a marriage if that's your mindset that you're going to do this as long as she does that. And check this out, fellas. If you understand this difference between covenant and contract, you'll be able to see where her head is at. Real talk. She may have that same mindset and may not understand it. You can bring it to her attention. You can educate her. When you have this understanding, you can educate her. Now, if she doesn't receive it, she doesn't receive it. But at least you'll understand, and you'll save yourself a lot of money, time, energy. You won't waste none of that because you'll see right off the bat, like, oh, nah, she's not committed. She's committed to my performance. She's not committed to this thing we call relationship or we call marriage. You're going to see it and you'll be able to call it out. So I'm just throwing that out there. And like I always like to say, as certain things are sitting there falling apart, like I always say, I'm not calling you out. I'm calling you up. All right, that's what this is about. The covenant standard is about calling men up, not out. I'm not bashing you. I'm not bashing women. But I want you to have a clear understanding of what this is. and how important it is for us to know that we need to raise our standards. We need to have an understanding of what a covenant relationship is. When we have that understanding, we can move accordingly. We can choose accordingly. We can live better because a covenant helps you to live better. A contract, it doesn't help you live better. It just helps you preserve your feelings. That's not a recipe for success. So I just wanted to get on real quick just to talk about that a little bit. And I really hope that you guys receive this. Hope you fully digest it and, share it. Like, share. Certain instances, I need you to subscribe. But I also want you to comment. Just comment with respect because, like I said, I'm not here to disrespect anybody. But I will point out certain things that I've seen, that I've experienced, and I'm sharing it because I want us to be better. I want us to have successful, sustainable marriages. I want us to have successful, sustainable relationships. I want us to be successful men and leaders. And that's what this is all about. That's my passion. My passion is for us to be good husbands, to be real husbands, to be real leaders, but having an understanding of a certain mindset, which will provide us with the opportunity to be successful. That's all it is. That's what this is about. All right. So like, share, subscribe, comment, and stay tuned because I'm going to be coming back with some more. And eventually I'm going to be doing lives. Right now I'm just doing videos because I just want to teach a little bit. Just give you some food for thought. Just take a little time to just, touch this. So receive it. And I look forward to talking to you soon. I'll let you know when I start doing lives. But right now, I want you to check these videos out and share them. Share them. You can listen, guys. You can share this with your girlfriends. You can share it with your fiance, with your wives. It's for everybody. Hey, it's geared towards you, but it also can open up the eyes of our ladies as well. But that's where it starts because we're the leaders. We can't look for them to lead. They can help us lead, but we are the leaders. All right. So peace and love. I'll be talking to you soon. I'll see you in the next video. Later for now.